Tim, Andy, lovely to have you here. How are we both?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah.
I'm feeling refreshed. I've cycled here, so I'm full of energy.
Can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Tim, married to Jo, 3 grown-up children. I'm the vicar of St Diana's Church, where we are now.
Beautiful.
This emporium here. Yeah, great to have you. And amateur cyclist, among other things.
You're on a journey.
Yeah.
And Andy, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Andy, married to Jane. I've got 2 grown-up children, and I live in southwest London, and I work as a management consultant for IBM. And I've known Tim for 35 years.
Yeah, when the grown-up children were in nappies. The romance is coming out. We're godparents to first children.
Didn't realise that. The
Yeah.
connection is deeper than I realised.
They're
So,
really- yeah.
how long have you known about IJM?
I've been here 18 years, and it was shortly after I came here, I kind of inherited a number of people. One guy in particular who worked in RJM in a gap year, and it was clearly on his heart, and a number of other people as well. There were about 5 or 6 who invited me to an IJM prayer meeting. I could immediately see it's well organised, a real passion, a real heart. So I could see that IJM needed, or could really do with, targeted and specific and committed support.
Andy, how long have you known about IJM? I feel that you might have a cool connection. You might know IJM's CEO. Is that
I
right?
do. I actually know IGM's CEO, although I obviously knew him before he was CEO. So I was at university with David Westlake, the current CEO of IGM. But I heard about IGM probably about 15 years ago. 2 lawyers in my church said, "You've got to hear about this charity. They're doing some amazing work tackling modern slavery. They've got lawyers, they've got investigators, they've got kind of therapists and aftercare counsellors. And what they are doing to address modern slavery today is unprecedented and highly impactful. And you've got to find out about it." And as soon as I saw and heard and read about it, I was hooked.
Just personally though, just connecting back to the cause that we're dealing with combating modern slavery and violence. Is there a particular story or a moment which really first broke your heart around that issue?
I think for me it was sort of busting a bit of a myth, and you immediately go to the caricature of someone in sort of irons in a dungeon. Typically I think of an adult, I suppose, just in the immediate caricature. So I remember just seeing a film of young boys in brick making, and then we're in these unbelievable hot kilns for sort of 18 hours a day, and all the sort of hardship that we've sadly, tragically come to know exists today. I hadn't thought of that, and I began to extrapolate my thinking from a sort of slightly narrow and caricatured view of slavery to that. I think another thing is being a parent, privileged to have brought up children who have not come anywhere near to that. They might have a different answer on how they felt my parenting techniques was from time to time, but nothing like what those guys were going through. We've got to do something about that.
I work for a large global technology company, and we've got workforces all across the world in many of the locations where IAGM is active. And I remember several years ago, I went out to meet the team in the Philippines, and they told me about a new form of abuse that was just coming into the mainstream, and it was the online sexual abuse of children using the internet. Now, I work in technology. I see that technology has real power for good, but they revealed to me just the power or potential for evil it has in our world. And what really shocked me when I was talking to some of their researchers and some of their investigators was that in many cases, the work was fueled by people of my age and demographic in the West. So from the US, from the UK, from Canada, paying for the online sexual abuse of children in the Philippines, often facilitated by their parents. And I thought, well, if I'm of a demographic that's actually causing this, shouldn't I be part of the solution? Shouldn't I try and raise awareness in my own company and in my own church so that we can do something about it now?
We want to talk today about the recent challenges that you guys have done. What was the first challenge that you guys did, and how did you come up with that idea?
Well, I remember it was about back in 2017, 2018. I was talking with Esther from IGM about a potential fundraising event, and we just hit on the idea of doing a cycle ride. So we came up with the idea of a cycle ride to Paris, a just ride, a 3-day event to Paris. And the sense was, if we can get people who are praying in a pew, then why don't we get people who can pray in a peloton, in a cycle ride?
He's so good. He's so good.
And so back in 2018, we got a group together, about 20 or so cyclists, to start on a 3-day cycle ride sponsored to Paris, and doing it over 3 legs, going down to New Haven, getting the ferry to Dieppe, and then over to Paris in 2 days. And it was a fantastic challenge, and that really set us on course for the adventures that followed.
That's amazing. And that was the first of many challenges that you guys have done. What was next, Tim?
To be honest, the only challenge I've done is the cycle one, but
Yeah.
we've kind of refined it or improved it.
Yeah.
Made it more
foundation.
difficult,
Yeah.
I think he's trying to say.
So we then took purchase of a camper van, Joe and I, and that sort of created a base for the food stops, which it gradually became a kind of selling point. So who would like to have some amazing food and fuel? It might be a little bike ride, sort of just London to Paris. And I got a map out. I thought, oh, look, if we go London down to Southampton, we just hop across and we could just cycle around the Isle of Wight. When you look on a map, the Isle of Wight, it's just dead flat. It's just, you look at it, it's just a lovely little poodle around the Isle of Wight. So I just, hey guys, we've got an easy ride. Why don't we just have a lovely little ride around the Isle of Wight and then back again. 3 days, silver stop for
You're
food.
selling it so well. Sounds
All
so
that,
cool.
yeah, easy. Everyone, me.
I persuaded my wife to do it.
Okay.
And she's only just started speaking to me since. No, it was a very intense day of cycling around the
Turns
Isle
out,
of Wight.
there's no flat on the Isle of Wight. So there is the down. There is the down.
Someone gave you a fake map, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. No, it's just my bad map reading. So yeah, that was quite hilly, all 3 days, and that was amazing. That group in particular, that was a genuine challenge. They earned every single penny of the sponsorship.
And part of the challenge of doing these is you take a mixed group of cyclists. So you take some, very fit cyclists from Tim's congregation who are almost elite class cyclists, but you're also taking some novices who've actually never done a long day cycle ride. And so therefore trying to keep the group together, encouraging them, motivating them just for the last stretch when they're just dead on their feet or dead on their pedals is quite a challenge. But it made it, I think, all the more special.
At the end of the day, your legs are quite tired, your saddle sore, but I kept reminding myself, this is going to stop. That little lad, he's in a brick day after day after day, minimal food, harsh conditions, and he doesn't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah.
And you just think, well, then I can just put another pedal stroke, another hill, another whatever. I can do that if he's still got to endure that. And hopefully my enduring this raises enough funds to prevent him enduring that.
Yeah, that's inspiring, really. And Andy, is there anything, maybe a story that kept you going, but when you were on that bike, when you were saddle sore and just done with the climb?
For me, there was something about this ongoing search. The work is never over. There's always one more person to rescue, one more brother or sister to go after. So yeah, when I was tired on the bike, that was my motivation.
How did you connect your community in with the work of IJM? Because I can imagine giving them the momentum and the motivation must have been really important when you were taking a group of different cyclists. How did you connect them with the work?
Tim timed each of our cycle rides so that we would arrive back in London for the end of the morning service or evening service. It was a 3-day event. And so we would literally come in true Anglican style, in sweaty gear, and were able to share the peace with the entire congregation of St. Diana.
Forgive us if we don't hug you, but thanks for being back. It's great to welcome you back into these doors. Have a very good day, everyone, and God bless.
Strangely, not many people wanted to share the peace in return, but you get the idea.
I didn't get any hugs, but like that. No.
How did you feel like it went down with wider connections outside of your church? Were you able to share this online with friends, family? How did you feel people were able to connect in with the challenges?
I was fortunate. When I went out to the Philippines and I was doing some work, obviously, for my firm, I invited the IGM team to come in to an IBM afternoon event. So they presented to my team in Manila. And one of the guys in the team was so impressed, he wanted to know more. So I said, here, have the t-shirt, go away and find out more. So certainly I think locally in the Philippines, the work of IGM is really well received because they see the problem on their doorstep. And again, like most people, they want to know, so what can I do? How can I help?
So when you gave him the shirt, did you leave that meeting half naked?
It's a valid point.
Fortunately, I had my work clothes with me to change into, so there was no HR issue there.
Just clarifying that. Your most recent challenge, what was that?
The most recent was to up the ante on the London to Paris bike ride. 3 days, casual, no challenge at all. Let's do London to Paris in 24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours total. And then, just bear in mind, 4-hour ferry crossing, 1 hour faff either way, then maybe a stop or two. So you're really whittling it down. Can we really do London to Paris, 280 kilometres in 15 hours or so?
And can you?
Yes,
Can
we can. Yes, we can. But the key thing is, rather than going London to Paris, we got the Eurostar to Paris. We did Paris to London. So we started, there's a suburb called Saint-Denis. It is believed that actually St. Dionis derives its name from Saint-Denis. So St. Denis was the Bishop of Paris in the 3rd century.
It's an incredible connection.
Who
And if you
knew?
made it up, we don't mind. It's just admitted.
That's all true. That's all true. I've probably made up quite a lot of the other stuff, but that is true. So we went from Saint-Denis to St. Dionis. See what we did there?
Connection.
See what we did there? Yeah.
In less than 24
We
hours.
did it in
What was the total time?
11 hours, 20 minutes
That
of
is,
ride time.
that is incredible.
Fairly impressive. Basically, what we did was we all drafted Andy. Andy, and there's a thing called drum where you just get sucked along by everyone else. That was an incredibly long stick with a sort of energy bar dangling off it. I just held it in front of that, and Andy's kind of going like this, and we were all dragged along.
We had these great plans. We thought, right, we're just going to go. Come rain, wind, or whatever, we're going to go. And that plan worked well until we hit our first weather front. And we had the sort of mother of all biblical floods that hit us. And it was a little bit like cycling through one of those big sort of car washing machines. So after about 12 seconds, we said, stop, this isn't going to work. And we literally hid under a tree and took cover and put our coats on and wait for the weather front to pass over. And then soaking wet, we got on our bikes and carried on again. But look, it was fantastic. We were refueling pretty regularly, and we got to Dieppe with about 30-40 minutes to spare before the midnight ferry left.
They've got 2 terminals. Who knew? They got 2 terminals at Dieppe. We were sort of slightly tight for time. We're pretty weary. We did about 170k in the day, and it's getting dark. So you get to Dieppe, and we just comes to the time for the ferry. And we go to the ferry terminal, and our French English, no, you need to be over there. Okay, so we'll get on our bikes, and it's like, it's about, I don't know, was it 400 yards to move to the? So we go over to there. No, you need to be. And it's like Keystone Cops. If you've been watching them, John, please, we just want to get on the ferry.
We thought we were all then set to get on the ferry and then to go sleep for a few hours. And then we discovered that although we booked 4 people on the ferry, we'd only booked 1 bike. So we had to quickly book all of our bikes on the ferry, and we just about made it on time. And the best thing, the one moment when we all think, God, you are here with us, was we discovered that there was a free cabin with four beds in it and a shower.
The key thing, and a shower.
And a shower.
I'll tell you, there's no way. I wanted it was quite a small cabin, quite intimate. If a mattress is all pulled out, all perfect. But there's no way I wanted to sleep in a box, basically, with the other 3 smelly individuals in that room. The shower. Thank you, Lord. The shower. But again, does my little lad in the Britt Club, does he have a nice bed to lie on? Does he have a shower? So it's just every time I sort of this is.
Yeah.
That we end slavery, we end that in our lifetime.
As you talked about some of the things that didn't quite go to plan, I think I might have heard about some of the punctures on the way. Is that a sore point?
We had 1 puncture, and that was on my bike. I mean, I was obviously leading at the front of the peloton. I was taking one for the team, and that meant going over the glass and the tacks that were in the road. So we had 1 puncture when we were only about 5 miles out of Dieppe.
By contrast, the one before, the 3-day one, on the first day, 16 punches. 2 of the cyclists had about 4 or 5. And in the end, I think we did slightly just say, like, forget this, get in the van, we'll drive you there. Your bike just doesn't work. Anyway, we got that fixed for the second and third day. But the first day, and I was thinking, wow, the backup team, support team, and the expertise. That's also the challenge, actually, is can you it's one thing to ride a bike, but can you get off quick and repair a bike?
So you had a support team, you had a community at your local churches supporting you. That's key, isn't it, when you're thinking about a challenge of that magnitude, if you're doing multiple days of so many stages. What else would you recommend to anyone here who's inspired, interested, wants to do something different? What kind of things do they need to think through when they're taking on a challenge like this?
I think we felt fairly early on, if we can get a team of people to just think about the challenge, think about the logistics, think about the plans that we have to do, the various bookings. So getting a team of people around you, it's better to have more people engaged at the start so you can think it through all angles. And I can remember on one of the trips, we had some customs declarations that we needed to fill in. So it was great to have someone on the kind of passenger seat behind me who could literally focus on that while I was loading the bikes up into the back of the van. So yeah, having a big team and support around you, I think, is critical.
Yeah.
It strikes me that there's a lot of people with very creative or imaginative or fun ideas, but they're just for fun. Literally off the top of my head, what if you had a duck race from the start of the Thames, or a certain bit of the Thames, and you just have a IJ and duck race? So everyone sponsors a duck, and you just see how far the duck will go around. I mean, fun. And
Heard it here first. IJM duck race. We'll see.
But my point being that then you undergird it with, no, but there's a reason behind this. And so you combine the fun with but there's a real issue here. And I think that's what gets people. That, I think, is what galvanises, gets people's imagination. That, okay, I don't want to ride the bike, but I'll fill in a form, or I'll go buy the ducks, or whatever it is. But I think creativity and imagination, it helps. Yeah.
That's so good. You guys have been connected in with this work for a while. It's impacted you. You've been out to the Philippines. You've had a connection with our work in Dominican Republic.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Through your church. And how do we get more people to care about this? Because there are 50 million people currently trapped in slavery today. That's 1 in every 150 people. How do we get more people to care and then to act?
Well, I challenge myself every now and then to go out go for just a bike ride with this, and if I've got a coffee shop or something, or someone's behind me see the slogan on the back, and I've had 2 or 3 conversations with people. Say, what's that about? I should have more of those stats to my head, because most people think it ended with Wilberforce, and they're shocked to discover it's rife. And we are probably all complicit in fueling it without even realising. And just busting that myth, there's enough people with a conscience to say, okay, how can I help? How can I contribute?
So I think social media is very powerful in today's generation. So actually having stories to tell, or having videos to show, and being able to promote that through your friendship groups or your fellowship groups, I think is really important. I do also think that the church, that we should be hearing about this week in, week out in the church. So certainly in my church, I'm trying to persuade, again, the leadership team that this is something that we need to keep on the agenda and covering in our services. We ought to have one day a year you have IGM Freedom Sunday and actually talk about it and bring it front and centre. That way I think we're kind of living out what Jesus said when he said, come to preach good news to the poor, freedom for prisoners, to set the oppressed free, and we can be part of that. And I think that's one of our prime callings as Christians.
Totally agree. And just been so inspired by this conversation, and we'd just love to know, have you got any other ideas in the pipeline? What's next for you guys? You've done 3 London to Parises, 1 in 24 hours. You've had church members doing Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Any other ideas?
Yeah. Well, I heard someone say about 5 minutes ago about a duck, and I watch this space.
And I'm sure there are some more cycle adventures that we'll be planning in future, because every time we do, there are so many people that say, let me know next time. I'd love to get involved. So I think we've got plenty more cycle adventures up our sleeves.
So good. Thank you so much, Andy, Tim, for being here. If you were inspired today, if you're motivated to use what's in your hands to do something different, it might be to do with ducks, it might not. But we want to bring more people into this movement to end slavery and violence today. So you can visit ijmuk.org and find some ways to partner with us, and we will see you in the next episode very soon. Thank you.
And the reason why St Dionis is travelling for 380 kilometres, we're climbing 4/5 of the height of Mont Blanc, is so that
ending slavery in our lifetime. until all are free.
Quarite judicium, savolite oppresso, which means
Oh, this is your second little granddaughter?
Daughter.
Oh, gorgeous. Oh, gorgeous. She's sleeping well.
That's worth it.
That is a pose.
There we are.
Oh, that's certainly got